So, welcome to this video. We're going to be doing a tier list. That's right, a tier list. Everyone loves a tier list. But we'll do a tier list of Manchester United players. And I'm going to put them from where I think they've been this season. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to base it on what I've seen. Some of it are also based on potential because you can't play. Some players just been injured or have performed the best Manchester United, look the most promising, down to the players who have not looked too great and don't look like they're going to show too much for Manchester United in the future. So straight into it then. Here's a tier list we're using today. It's got some players in there who are on loan at the moment. So you've got Anthony. Malacia is also on loan. So, but I'll include them anyway because they've had seasons and stuff like that. So let's start this off. I'm going to work my way across from how it currently is. All right, that way to this way. That's how I'm going to do it. Luke Shaw. Now, we all know, if you watch football, if you're a Man United fan, even if you're an England fan, you probably have seen it. Luke Shaw's a good player. He's a great left back. He's great at crossing the ball. His passing range is good. And he can even fill in at centre back, as he's shown at Manchester United. And for that reason, I think he's a decent player. However, his injuries have just been, he's been riddled with injuries. He's constantly having some sort of injury, and it's really hindered his career. He hasn't really been able to get going. When he starts to do well, he gets an injury and then he misses out for most of the season. And then even if we're being honest now, he's come back into the team recently. When I'm making this video, actually, we have just lost to Brentford, but we've got the game like in the Europa League. So if you may be watching this, there might be some differences. You know, you might have an absolute worldie win us the Europa League, but any of these players could do something like that. But personally, just because of the injuries on a tier list, I'm gonna say a C. Okay, he's got the talent, he's got the ability to be higher. He could be S if he was fit, but he's not fit. And if you're not available, you're not available. So you can't be good. There's no point in having all the ability and the talent in the world if you can never use it. So for me, he's down to a C. He's not quite the lowest because he has got ability. You know, we know he can perform when he is picked, but he's just not. He's not available enough to be any higher up the pitch. Moving on, then we have Victor Lindelof. As under Mourinho, we've got him from Benfica, but he's been here quite a while now, and I think he's had ups and downs. When he first came in, I think he was lacking that physicality. I remember him getting dominated in the air just constantly. That still happens, but he has adapted a lot more now and uses his strengths a lot better. He tries to read the game better. Not saying he reads the game well, but he reads it better. So he's not a bad player, and his availability has been pretty good. He picks up a few injuries. He's had a bit of injury this year, but for the most part, he's available. He puts in a decent performance, but I don't think he's massively important to the team. I don't mean it's in a super disrespectful way, but I think he is replaceable pretty easily. He's just a centre back that can play. He can play for most teams, but maybe off the bench with reserves. I wouldn't think a top team would have him in their squad, but I think he could do well in a Premier League team again. I think he'd be fine as well. I just don't think he's that good. He doesn't show insane amount of ability, and he's starting to get a few injuries. So yeah, I'll just say C. I don't think he's any better than. Tough one. Rasmus Højlund. Now, I've done a few videos before where I've spoken about our goal scoring problems and also talk about Højlund in general. And I think he's got that look to him. Okay, if we weren't thinking of this year and thinking of last year, you would think, yeah, perfect squad striker. He's young, 20, something like that. So he's young. He looks dangerous. He looks like he wants to get in the box and he's willing to just try being in the right positions. It looked like that in that first year. He was scoring these little poacher goals in the Champions League, and he was top goal scorer, I think, in the Champions League or the Europa League before we got knocked out. So you can't deny that he's got that ability. This year, he just hasn't shown it, has he? He just can't score. There's been question marks about his positioning. There's been question marks about service, but I feel like he does need to do more. However, I will say in the last few games, he has started to, sacrifice a little bit and try and play the passes. I do think there's a player there in Højlund, and it's that tough situation where I don't want to sell him because I do think there's potential. He is young. And people are so quick to judge these young players. But if he was from the academy, you'd be thinking, oh, give him time. He's young and he has ability. He's shown he can score. Okay, people will just forget in this because of this year he hasn't done well. And I understand he hasn't done well at all this year, but he can score goals. and his technique is pretty good when he's shooting goals, and he's physical. I think he can get there. I really do think he can be a good striker. I'm not sure what his level is yet. I don't see potential as high as someone maybe like an Obi Martin or Cheeto Obi. I think he's got like that ceiling. He's got that look to him. But Hoyland, I think, should rightly so have a chance. Even if it means going on loan. If I was Man United, I'd be thinking we've got potential new striker coming in. We're going to bring in Delap, Osman, or whoever else we're linked with. So we've got the potential new signing coming in. We already have Xerxes. Then we have Cheeto Obi off the bench, and then obviously Hoyland as well. You can't have that. You can't have that many strikers. You can't have 4 strikers competing. 2 is fine with a youth player maybe, but you can't have 4. Hoyland. I mean, you could say Xerxes is more of a 10. Fine, whatever. But I still think there's too many. I'm going with a B. I think he's been better. He's available. He's young. He's got potential. I can't put him any higher because he hasn't been fantastic, but definitely got potential. Moving on. Player who's more than likely going to leave Manchester United. I think he's free agent in a month or so, a couple of months. So he's not going to be here anymore. That's Christian Eriksen. And I think for Christian Eriksen, he's just one of those players. He's a good player. He's coming towards the end of his career. He's never been a physical player. So he does rely on that technique, kind of like a Juan Mata. It really reminds me of Juan Mata in that sense. A little bit more physical, maybe. But yeah, Juan Mata-esque. Hands of the top leagues, especially the Premier League, is quite hard for him. What do you think? You want to keep him, do you? He wants to keep Eriksen, apparently. Okay, come on. I'm going to ponk you down now, Eddie. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of age. I think he's still got the ability, and I think he can still offer something maybe. But I also don't think, as from just looking at Man United career, I don't think he's ever been that good for us. I'm just gonna go ahead and say C as well. I just think he hasn't got any future for Manchester United, and he hasn't had the best career at Manchester United. I mean, he's won a FA Cup and stuff, so look, I'm not going to say he's had a bad career, but let's move on. Toby Collier. Now, this is an interesting one because, again, he burst onto the scene and he looked like a proper talent. You cannot burst onto my scene, though, Ginge. I think, yeah, another player. He's got ability. He's shown it. He's such a good, young-looking talent. He's quick. I was shocked how quick he was, actually, for like a central defensive midfielder, but he's quick. He gets around the pitch, puts in a tackle, calls for the ball. He seems quite tidy. I do like the look of Collier, and I think again it's just one of those players that are going to develop. I don't think he's going to be one of those youth players that you just forget about and they kind of die away. I think he's got something about it, Toby Collier. So yeah, I don't think it's an insane thing. I wouldn't say he's like fantastic, but just purely based on youth and who I would want in my squad, he's B tier for me. He's B tier for me. Again, he's not the best player in the world. He's not Lamine Yamal. But I think he can be a Man United player in the future. So for that reason, I'm keeping squad B. Yeah, moving on. Tom Heaton. Do you know what? I can't really speak too badly of Tom Heaton because I remember in the preseason when we got Onana, he looked like all of a sudden he was the ball playing goalkeeper. I don't know if anyone else remembers it, but he was the one playing out from the back and he was solid in goal. But look, he's a third choice goalkeeper, so he's never going to be top of the line. But he's available. I think there's rumours of him signing a new contract, so I can't say anything bad of Tom Heaton. I think he's just done his job and he's done it fine. So just a C tier again. Again, nothing special, but third choice goalkeeper and he's done what he needs to do. Simple as that. Moving on to an interesting one. There's been a lot of talk about whether he goes straight back in the team, and that's Lisandro Martinez. Obviously, in my opinion, he's our best ball playing centre back. I think that's even up for contest. He's so good on the ball, one of the best in the league. In Europe, if you look at centre backs that play on the ball, there's not too many that are better than him. His line cutting passes are outrageous with his left foot. The way he's whipped it into a midfielder, he can get up the pitch as well. We scored that goal against Liverpool. Look, he's a fantastic player. But hopefully he doesn't get the issues that Luke Shaw gets when he gets injured. But for me, his technical ability and his dominance. He's small. He's a small player, but he's dominant. He will get in front of you. He'll push you. He'll nudge you. He'll tackle you. He'll make you. You'll know he's there. And I like Lisandro Martinez, and I'm really hoping next year he doesn't have the injury problems he's had. I mean, to be fair, he had an ACL injury. So you can't necessarily say that's a reoccurring thing of his fault. It's an ACL injury. It's a bad injury. We just got to hope he comes back stronger. And I think for that reason, his quality is an A tier for me. If he can keep his injuries down, he'll stay A, maybe go higher, but or vice versa. He could drop down if he just keeps getting injured. But at the moment, his technical ability is so good, and he's been that good when I've watched him play. And I loved watching Martinez play. He just brings like attitude. He brings just aggression, yeah, but also calmness when he's on the ball. He's calm. When he sees that ball, he's calm. Keep control of it. The amount of like little pirouettes he's done is just outrageous. So yeah, A tier for me, easy. I still think even now we've got some good centre backs. I still think he's probably our best centre back, in my opinion. Anyway, moving on to another centre back, maybe on the other end of the spectrum, Jonny Evans. Now, again, it's kind of the similar thing with Tom Heaton. I think he's a player that's done his job. He's been there when we've needed him, really. He hasn't really put a foot wrong, and I thought he's been quite good. But again, I just don't think he has that much of a future at Manchester United again, so I don't think he could be high up the list. But when he has played, he's been good. I've been actually shocked. He doesn't look his age. I'm not sure how old he is. Is he 35? Is he 35, Jonny Evans? Jonny Evans. Wow, that's not typing. Jonny Evans, born... Wow. Yeah, I'm not doing maths. Age. 34. Corey Evans. I was going to say 37. Corey Evans. Anyway, Jonny Evans is 37. Yeah. I mean, he's done his job. So for me, it's just a C tier again. He's not bad. He's done his job. But he hasn't really got much of a future. And it's just because his age. He's been there. He's done what he needs to do. And respect Jonny Evans. Moving on. A player who I actually really like is Mazraoui. Right? Mazraoui. He can play any of these positions. We've seen him play in centre back. We've seen him play right back. We've seen him play left back. Ten Hag played him as a centre attacking midfielder. He's been all over the place, wings. He's been everywhere. And he's been good. He's a good player. He's super consistent. He puts his shift in. He's consistent. And he is a player you need in your squad. He's so good. He's consistent. He has ability as well. He's got that nice ability. It's difficult where you put him, but I'm good. This is probably controversial, but purely based on the fact he bought him for 15 million, he's super consistent. He's played like nearly 50 games or something his first season. I'm putting him up here, and I think it's important to understand that it's really good to have a player that not only can play lots of positions but is available. And Mazraoui for me is there. He's available and he's good. He's consistent. So he's an A tier for me. Next up, great player. One of my favourite players, actually. Just the way he plays the football. Kobbie Mainoo. Absolute monster. Like he's so good. I remember when he first came on the scene. Oh, you just saw something about him. Something about the way he played. His goals. He's just
so good.
He played for England, and I was telling everyone, my friends, Tom, who I've done a video with, I was like, hey, they start for England. He didn't know who Kobbie Mainoo was. They're like, it's Kobbie Mainoo. Mate, Kobbie Mainoo is outrageous. His technical ability is fantastic. His passing is fantastic. He can shoot. He's an all-round box-to-box player. Maybe even a 10 now, we've seen under Amorim. I think he's got a real future Manchester United. I'm pretty sure everyone is understandable of that. I think he'll play for England. It will develop. So, yeah, look, Kobbie Mainoo for me. He's not. I can't say S tier because he's not done that yet. He's not that level yet. But for me, for the player I want in the future, A tier. Next up, another player who I absolutely think is fantastic. I'm so happy when we signed him in the competition from Real Madrid, and that's Leny Yoro. I mean, he's shown recently how good he is. He's 19, he's a centre-back, and he's just dominant. He's calm, he's composed, he's great on the ball. He comes out from the back into midfield. He's made runs forward. He's made last-ditch tackles. He is fantastic. Centre-back, what else can you want from a centre-back? And he's 19 years old. Now, he's one of those players I'm like, S tier. He's fantastic. But again, just because I think still need time to develop even more, he's A tier for me. Again, he's in my team. He's in my starting, my 11. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, fantastic player. Difficult one now then, because we have Anthony, and obviously he's on loan at Betis, and I think he'll stay there. I think they'll try to do it permanent one way or another. So it's a bit weird having him in this tier list. But I'm going to forget the Betis side of things, because if you think of when he's at Betis, he's looked pretty good. He would probably be higher up the list. But for how he was at Manchester United, and if I want him in my squad, I don't really want him in my squad. He's been so average. For me, he's C tier. Good opportunity now to cash in on him. Maybe try and get 40 million out of him. And then, yeah, you can move on and try something different. I think that's what we need to do. No point trying again. Next up, another young player who I love this guy as well. I haven't seen him play too much, bear in mind. Yeah, he did get injured. But such a good player, Aiden Heaven. Young player, hadn't really played many professional games before. But again, kind of like Lenny Yoro, he's calm, he's composed, he's good on the ball, he's quick. Fantastic, really, isn't he? Again, just purely because he hasn't played much for us, I can't put him with Lenny Yoro. But I will say he's a B tier. He's a good player, he's got potential, and I definitely want to see him in the team a lot more going forward. Maybe next year he can really have a bit of a push, especially in the cup games. I think it'd be a good opportunity. Another difficult one, and this is controversial. Andre Onana. I don't know if we're going to even attempt to sign a new goalkeeper. There's kind of rumours that we might be looking at them, but obviously we know we need to score goals, and that's kind of where we're focusing. And maybe if we attack better, we'll defend better. So maybe we won't need to rely on the keeper as much. But he has made errors, Onana. He has made quite a lot of errors. So I know I can understand when fans want to replace him. And I've made jokes before saying about Onana in my videos, but I still think Onana isn't a bad goalkeeper. I don't think he's a bad goalkeeper. I think it's so hard being a goalkeeper because you make an error, it leads to a goal. Everyone jumps on you. But he's had good performances as well. But yeah, I know you can't base it pure on just the good performances, but I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's a player you need to go straight away and replace. I wouldn't be annoyed if we don't replace him this year because I think there's bigger problems at Manchester United, especially going forward, creativity side of things. But I also don't think he's been good enough, Andre Onana. So, I mean, he's done his job. Onana. I don't think I can say he's B tier. I think he's going to have to be another C tier player. He has the potential to move up, unlike maybe a lot of these players who I don't think have much of a future at Manchester United. I think Andre Onana can. So again, if we keep him next year and we start to see the reason he came out from the back, bit of ball playing ability in a team that's a bit more attacking, a bit more creative, I think we will then be thinking a bit different about Onana. So I'm not going to rule him out. I'm not going to say he needs to go now. I think he's a C tier, and then hopefully he can move up B tier, and so forth. That's what I would love to do because I don't want to be spending money on a goalkeeper. He's not old. He has good playing ability if you start showing it. So C tier for me. Let's move on. Harry Maguire. If you asked me a year ago what I thought about Harry Maguire, he would not be very high up on the list at all. He's been an okay player, but not high at all. In this back three under Ruben Amorim, I think he shines. I think Harry Maguire loves playing in the back three. I think it's an opportunity for him to actually showcase what he can do. Been clutch loads of times, scored last minute goals. So for that reason, S tier. I'm joking. I can't put S tier. S for Slapman. Not even going to say Slapman. Because you know what? He uses that Slapman and he scores us some goals. But Harry Maguire. That is a really tough one. Harry Maguire. Do you know what? I'm gonna throw out there. In Ruben Amorim's system, Harry Maguire is an A tier. He's good on the ball. He's been good in the air. He's decent in that middle centre back role. So for me, he is a contender for that starting 11 position next year. And A tier, Harry Maguire. Just throwing it out there. Talking about the next player being out there. No, it didn't work. I was going to try and blend his name into out there. Altair being there. It didn't work. Anyway, Bayern. Again, I think he's just one of those players that he's young. He probably should be starting more games for teams, but I don't think he should be starting more games for Manchester United. We've tried it. We hyped him up, and it didn't go too well, did it? Was it Newcastle? Was it 4? Is this another C tier? He's a backup goalkeeper. Maybe as a backup goalkeeper, he's absolutely fine. Maybe he can be better with the run of games. You know, goalkeepers do need a run of games as well. So maybe it's unfair to judge him just based on the odd performance he's had here and there. But just purely from what I've seen, I can't say I've seen him not for Manchester United because it's not a player I watched, but he was a captain, wasn't he, when he was playing before? Next up, player as well that's getting a lot of hate for some reason, and I don't see it. Maybe I'm blind. Yeah, I am wearing glasses, so maybe I'm blind. But Patrick Dorgu, okay, we got him in the January transfer market, and it was an exciting signing for me. Left foot, a proper left back who's energetic, can get up and down, can play on the right wing as well. Doesn't seem to get too many injuries, but for some reason people just hate on him. Maybe people were expecting us to all of a sudden, get the next like Roberto Carlos or something like that. But I like Patrick Dorgu. I've liked him. I remember when I was at his game when he made a debut. That was great. That was that Europa League. Yeah, I think it was Europa League. That was good. And I like Dorgu. He's energetic. He gets up and down. He's got potential. I just like him. All right, his crosses have been actually underrated. Honestly, he's been whipping the ball. And if we had a striker who was actually ready on the last man, lurking around the box, or even just midfielders rushing in there to try and score a goal, I think we'll be talking about a very different situation if you have way more assists. So I like Dorgu. Okay, I can't say he's A tier or S tier because he just hasn't had time yet. And when we're playing as we are, it's hard for any player to be high up the tier list unless they're really showing something. But for me, he's a B tier right now, and I think he's easily got potential to fly up there. Feels a bit harsh putting him next to Højlund, but I think Dorgu's gonna keep moving up the list. I think B's still good, average. If we're basing that as an average, then that's fine. All right, next up, Diogo Dalot. Now he's an interesting one again. Again, it's a weird one with Dalot because I remember before going into this season, or I think just before Amrim came in, Dalot was doing really well. He was kind of playing like an inverted wingback role. He was tucking in a lot more, and we were seeing some pretty good things from Dalot. He was starting to play a lot more for Portugal. It's been going pretty well, but ever since it's been more of a wingback, it's been a struggle with Dalot. I do think it's also slightly unfair because Dalot has played a lot of games at left back or left wing back for Manchester United, and that's not his position. Not only you now ask him to learn the wing back role to be a lot more aggressive, he's also then on the left side where I don't think he can be as effective. So many times I see Dalot get the ball, turn inside, and then kind of whip the ball into midfield. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's just a lucky hit at the pitch. And I don't think it's what he needs to do. If he's going to be in the wing back role, the wing back role, he needs to actually be given the range and the freedom to use his right foot. But I think that's going to be tough because the right wing back role, can't say it. Right. Can't say wing back role. It's tough because there's other players, I think. Well, there's one other player that I think maybe is competing for that role. Anyway, Dalot, for me, B tier. Again, another weird one. I don't really even know why I'm doing this one because Tyrone Malacia is back at loan. I can't remember where he is now. Is it PSV again? I don't know where he is. He's in the Netherlands. And I just don't think he's going to really come back and challenge. I don't think he's not as good as Dorgu. I think Harry Amas isn't on this list. That's annoying. But he's not as good as Harry Amas. So I don't think Malacia has a place in the club, sadly. But yeah, I mean, based on this tier list, again, I can't say he's been terrible. I don't think anyone's a D rated yet. I don't know if anyone will be a D rated, actually, like awful. But yeah, just another C tier, just average. I think the Man United squad just has so many average players. And then there's too many terrible, just a lot of average. You have a lot of average, that brings down your average quite a lot. But the next player, Mr. Redemption Arc himself, Casemiro. Literally, at the beginning of Ruben Amorim's role, Collier was in front of Casemiro by a long way. And it looked like it was going to be that way. We thought maybe his legs were gone. Maybe the system didn't suit him. But that's completely different now. Now, I don't know if it's a system change. I think it's a system change and the player kind of understanding his limitations a bit. But I think it's a bit of both. I think under Ten Hag, the two sixes were really, really important and were really required to be able to run up and down. And I think Casemiro just doesn't have that anymore. I don't think Casemiro has that anymore. And I remember under Ten Hag, he was being pulled left, out, right, up, down, everywhere. He was getting pulled apart like a bloody cheese string, if that makes any sense. But I think Casemiro, for the most part, has improved massively now. The leadership is so good in that Europa League game. Um, he showed everyone his experience. He just controlled the game. He was telling Lindelof to move out the way. He was telling Lindelof, "Give me the ball, move over there. Don't just calm down." And I love that to see in a player like Casemiro, especially in our team that just needs that encouragement and that leadership. But he's skipping now. He's a player that I think has a future now. I think Ruben Amorim likes Casemiro. I don't think he's got many years left, but he's still got leadership in him. And for the moment, with the system being a bit more tighter, the players closer together, he has to cover less ground and he's a lot more involved. And for that reason, again, I think a B tier. In terms of his ability and leadership, he's above he's probably above everyone. So be more thinking A tier, but just because again, I think he's quite limited down to how long left. I'm gonna B tier. Next up, a player who I like. I know some of you guys don't like him. That's fine. We'll have your own opinion. Manuel Ugarte. Now, I will say on Ugarte, his last game, well, the last game I watched, I didn't really watch much of the Newcastle. I didn't get to watch much of the game against Bournemouth, which might have been a good thing. Don't know. So whether or not he played well there, not 100% sure. But the game before, again, in the Europa League game, he was quite sloppy. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was nerves. I don't think it would be nerves. It could have been. Or maybe it was just lack of concentration or even just frustration, maybe. I'm not sure. But I think he is a player that I like. I like the fact he gets around. His tackling is fantastic. He covers the pitch well. He never stops running. I think his passing is okay. Maybe he can improve. I like Ugarte. I really do like Ugarte, and I think he is another B tier player. I think he can go up the tier list next year if he develops a little bit more, gets a bit more confident playing in England for Manchester United, back in Ruben's system. I think he's a player that will improve, and I would hope and I would love to see him in like an A level. I mean, imagine an S tier Ugarte, that'd be fantastic. But I reckon he can move up. I reckon he just needs a bit more time. People are so stupid. Some of the fans are just so quick. It's so annoying. He's a good player. Come on, just appreciate what he does now. I understand it's his first year in England. He's had to go through 2 different managers already straight away. So he's been learning one system, learning the language. Then now all of a sudden he's back with Ruben Amorim. He's got to remember that, and probably it's been tweaked a little bit as well. So it's probably even more confusing. So I think you got to respect it a bit. I think BT is absolutely fine. Another interesting one then, another player riddled with injuries, and that is Mason Mount. Now, this is where maybe my tier list might differ from other people's. I think if you're purely basing it on his availability, of course it's S tier or even D tier. Kind of like a Luke Shaw. However, his technical ability and what I like about Ruben Amorim does like Mason Mount. What I like about Mason Mount is he does seem like he's got the ability, he's got the energy, the athleticism to do it. So in terms of the player that I want at Manchester United, he's got to be B's here for me. I think if he's fit, he goes even higher. Easy. He's such a good fit for that 10 role and Ruben Amorim's system. If he doesn't, then yeah, he drops into the C or D tier. It is what it is. But for now, I'm going to B tier and being optimistic here. He's back fit, scored a goal the other day, so I'm going to go B tier. Let me know, guys, if you disagree with that or not, but B tier for me. Again, Joshua Zirkzee, kind of another redemption arc player. Earlier on the season, he was a flop. He went off crying almost off the team. Bit harsh, but it's what it is. But now he's come back. He's come back strong. He's shown proper character. He's recovered from that. He's embraced the fans. He's put in more effort. It looks like he's running a lot more now. That's one thing I noticed. He's running a lot more. But he's got that great. His link-up play is so good. His ball control is outrageous. And honestly, I'm pretty sure I looked on SofaScore. His supposed weakness is ball control. I don't know where on earth he's got bad ball control. The way he traps the ball, the way he lays it off, the little flicks he can do is outrageous. No other player can do it the way he does. The closest is probably going to be Bruno in terms of the way he can trap the ball. Maybe Mainoo's quite good at that as well. But Xerxes is so good at that. He's strong, he's tall, he's physical, but he has that ball control. I think he's really good with his back to his goal, and he's really good at bringing players in. I don't think he's that lone striker, because I don't think he has that that kind of, to get into those ugly, score the ugly goals. You know what I'm trying to say? Those kind of scrappy goals. I'm not sure he has that, but I think he can play as a 10 and make late runs into the box. I think if he does start doing that, and he starts to show that even more, I think we've got real player there that can cause problems for a lot of teams. So for me, I'm going B tier again. I'm hoping he can move up. I think he's got potential to be higher up the list, but he just needs to up his game a little bit more. Another player kind of like Anthony, where he's on loan. Rashford talking about here. He's on loan. And I'm not sure if it's in his best interest to come back to Manchester United. I know he's got contract and he has no obligation to leave, and I think there's been talks that he hasn't closed that door yet. And maybe Ruben Amorim hasn't, so maybe he could come back. But based on his career, I mean, he scored goals for Manchester United, but he's never been that player. We always thought he was always compared to Mbappe. He's not Mbappe. I don't think he's ever going to be Mbappe's level. I just don't think he even knows what position he's. I still think after all this time, we don't know his position. He's a left winger. Maybe he's a left winger. I think he's a left winger in a team that has a good left back to bomb up and down with him. In this system, he's not the left winger because he would have to defend. He's not going to be a 10 because you have to be way more disciplined, structured in the middle. You have to be good within the tight spaces and with your back to the goal. I don't think that's Rashford's game. Rashford is suited to looking forward, running at defenders, and taking them on without the struggle of having to run back. I don't think he fits our system. I think that's the problem we're going to have. And he's not a striker either, really, let's face it. So I think he's going to struggle to fit into our system, even if he comes back with the right attitude. I think he'll struggle. As a player, I don't think he's a bad player at all. I think he's... We know what Rashford could do. Let's not be stupid. We all know Rashford's a good player. But I just don't think he fits our system. So it's a tough one. It's really tough. Really, really tough. I think Rashford does. I feel bad putting him in a C tier, but I think he's C tier. I think C tier purely based on the system. He just won't fit our system. Under Ruben Amorim, I don't see it. I just don't see Rashford working. I don't. As overall, like not judging his career as a C tier, because he's scored lots of goals for Manchester United, and I think he's, rightly so, up this kind of level. But right now in this system, if you talk about the future and him get back in the team, he just doesn't have it, in my opinion. It's just not there for him. And we need to stick with this manager. We need to build. We need to develop. We need to spend time and actually bring in players. And I just think for Rashford and for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim, it's best to maybe just part ways now. But yeah, anyway, let's move on. Player who, for me, is our shining star. Okay. Maybe with someone else as well. But for me, this player stands out above everyone else. And for that reason, he's going straight to the S tier. Now, I know this is a bit controversial probably because he hasn't exactly been insane. But from what I've seen, he's S tier for me. Amad Diallo is S tier for me. I think he likes Diallo's. Just Amad. Amad is S tier. He's just everything. If he stays fit, he's our best player. I think quite a way. Maybe second best. I'm sorry, Bruno Fernandes. No disrespect to Bruno Fernandes. So him and Amad are just outrageous. I think Amad's fantastic. I really do. I think other players like Kobbie Mainoo and Martinez, maybe Yoro, can move there with him. But for now, he shines, doesn't he? Amad shines, and if he does shine, he's an S tier. Shine tier. That's where he belongs. Next player, Alejandro Garnacho. That's terrible attempt at trying to roll the R there, but or the L, the la. Anyway, he's a difficult player because I do like Garnacho, but he's so annoying sometimes. His decision making isn't there yet. But I still think there's a player there, and if Man United decide not to sell him this year, which I do actually think maybe he's a good idea not to sell him, because I just think it's just not Manchester United to sell a young player like that. I think I'm basing this on potential. A tier. I think he's one of our better players. He's one of our better players. So he deserves to be shown that way. And he's one of those players again. He's at that point now where he's either going to keep developing, you're going to see a player really develop, and he's going to move up with Ahmad, or you're going to realize that he's reached his cap. Obviously, he's nowhere near his peak, but you know what I mean. You can see that development, and I think he's A tier for now. Bruno Fernandes, I'm not going to dwell on this one for too long. S tier. For anyone, I don't understand the hate. Bruno Fernandes gets hated on for swinging his arms around or the way he takes a penalty. Anything. I don't really care what anyone wants to say about Bruno Fernandes. They are stupid. They're stupid. His stats are mental. He's a fantastic player. When we need him, he scores a goal. Big games, he scores goals. Smaller games, he scores goals. He contributes. He picks the ball up. He controls the tempo. He wins the ball. He tackles. He defends. You cannot hate on Bruno Fernandes. And other teams are always going to hate. That's what they do. Right? They're going to hate on our best player. That's fine. Man, when I hear Manchester United fans complaining about Bruno Fernandes, it does my head in. What is wrong with Bruno Fernandes? He is, without him, we'd be relegated now. We would be relegated. We would. Let's be honest. We would be relegated. Bruno Fernandes he will be remembered as a top player at Manchester United. Be careful using the word legend because it's always wrong. It always feels wrong to say legend when they're still playing, but he will be remembered, Bruno Fernandes. He will be remembered, and he's a fantastic player. Lastly up. I don't know if that makes sense. Lastly is De Ligt. I like De Ligt. I do like De Ligt. When I've played him, he's shown that passion, that aggression. I like De Ligt. He's going straight into A tier for me because I just think he's fantastic. I do like him. The amount of times he's made a goal line clearance or last ditch tackle or just something. He shows passion, shows aggression, and he's good. I like him. I haven't really seen many errors. I was worried when we bought him. He was a bit prone to making some errors, but he's been pretty good for me. I haven't noticed anything that would make me think otherwise. We got an absolute steal getting him and Mazraoui together. And for me, they came together and they stayed together at A tier because I think he's a fantastic player. And I think if he stays fit as well, he'll compete. Obviously, got 4 players there in Martinez, Yoro, Maguire, and De Ligt, all competing for those back 3, which I think is great. Having 4 good centre backs is great. And then obviously you've got players like Aiden Heaven pushing in there as well, trying to see if he can break through. But I think that's a really good structure. I'm happy to have them rotating and competing. There's always going to be an element of competition in your back line. But that's my tier list. What do you guys think? I will say there's a lot of average players in that B tier, which isn't good, especially if you consider the players that are in there. You know, you got quite a lot of starting players there who are B tier. And that B for me is the average. It's in the middle. It's the average. So they're just average. A is above average. They're doing pretty well. S is they're really good. That's my viewing of this. I'm not seeing S as like world beating. I mean, I think Bruno Fernandes is world class. I think you're silly if you think he's not. But I see S tier as just in the context of Manchester United, fantastic. You know, if you put Ahmad in Liverpool's team, he might not be S tier. He might be B tier or A tier. Being realistic, right? You have good players, but for Manchester United, that's a Manchester United tier list. From our worst to our best players, I think that's not a bad tier. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. If you disagree with the tier list, come make your own. Everyone knows these tier lists. You can do one. Do one. You know, do one. Send them to me. Whatever. Just let me know down below. If you disagree, then let me know. Right. But yeah, you know, I don't anyone in D tier. So I don't think anyone's terrible at Manchester United. I don't think we have a lot of average. I think we have a lot of average. Yeah, that's my tier list. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. Hit that like button and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time. If you enjoy these videos as well, I'll do some more because they are pretty easy to do. It's nice and easy instead of having to move. So I can be lazy and just sit here and make a video. Anyway, bye. I'll try and turn the thing off now. Oh shit, I'm still recording. Oh fuck.